and portray this ultimate poise, like I've been had it figured out. Nah, I just didn't quit. That's the only distinguishing quality from me and probably whoever else going through this or went through this or is gonna go through this, is that I ain't quit. I went through every emotion.
Roll smooth with a bang. 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 Roll smooth with a bang.
JP Productions.
What's going down, everyone? Shout out to everyone in the chat. We have a lot of people in the chat right now. Yeah, to everybody asking about whether or not these interviews and sessions are recorded and then released later. Yes, they are. All of these are released in the archive form on the platforms. So, for example, if you're watching on YouTube, on BeatStars YouTube, it'll be available forever on BeatStars YouTube. If you're watching on their Twitch, it'll be available forever on their Twitch. And then I'm on a 1 week delay. So last week's interview will be posted on my YouTube this Saturday, if that makes sense. So this one will be, Jesus, I'm stretching the shirt out. So today's session will be posted in not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. But either way, subscribe to BeatStars and subscribe to me. Very, very easy to do. Check it out. Before I bring on our special guest, one quick announcement, and it's an important announcement. It has to do with publishing. And if you want to learn more about publishing and why it's essential for creatives, and that's you guys, and then to extend that into learning what BeatStars Publishing is, which is something through Sony, ATV, and it's now open to the public, then sign up for their BeatStars Publishing for Producers webinar, which is next Thursday, August 12th. You definitely have time to sign up for that. The link is in the chat. It goes down at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but make sure to RSVP. The link is in the chat. Sign up to that and learn. And now I have the honor of bringing on a guest who's been on here before. I know some people in the chat were already talking about him being a repeat guest. We appreciate him always being willing to share his information with us. His studio looks a little different today. Tantu.
Yeah, man. What's up? What's up?
So what has changed in your studio this year?
I just went. I couldn't activate my mic, so I just wanted to check real quick if my audio works.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I live in a different city now. I moved to Berlin, the capital
Mm.
of Germany. So I lived in Utrecht, which is like the second city in the Netherlands. I lived there my entire life, and last March I figured that I could sell beats from anywhere. So why not go to a different country for a while and see how that goes?
What motivated you to go to Germany, and out of all the countries that you could have gone to?
Well, I mean, it's a neighbor country of the Netherlands, so it's pretty accessible. It's only a 6-hour train ride. And I still have my girlfriend in the Netherlands, so it made these choices a bit easier. And the the language is I learned the language in high school, so it's not too far from my skill set. And plus, like I've known quite some music people here in Berlin. I was like at least like 3 times a year the past couple of years I was in Berlin just to make music. I go skateboarding here all the time as well. And yeah, man, I just got the opportunity to move to here, and I figured it's a good idea to extend my inspiration here. Oh, Payne, your audio is.
Oh, my bad. I was gonna say, do you have some new gear? It looks like you have a Moog back there and another keyboard.
Uh, I bought this one so this is a Prophet 6. I bought this one in 2016 already.
Mm.
The Moog I've had since 2019, but sometimes I switch it around with another Moog I have, which is in storage right now. And like this is like a analog chorus box, just for some analog vibes. And then under my desktop screen, maybe I can show it. Let's do it. I got this is a VSR 32 3.2. That's a vintage spring verb. This is my favorite piece of gear. It's Oberheim Matrix 1000. It's from I think like 83 or 84, maybe 86. It sounds really vintage. It's just a synth rack with 999 presets, and then of course my Focusrite interface. But that's like most of it.
Did you say unfortunately your Focusrite interface?
No. I'm super happy with Focusrite, bro.
Okay, I was gonna say everyone seems to like their outboard gear. Okay, so let's jump right into the interview again. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, man.
I have a lot of questions. So some of these are kind of repeats, but I want to get to some background information first. How long have you been making beats for a living?
For a living. So I started making beats in 2008, 2009. I built my first web shop in 2010 or 2011, and then like I started generating money off of that for like YouTube ad revenue and the revenue from my beat store. But it was in 2013 that it became enough to do for a living. And I mean, I was still living with my parents back then, so I didn't need that much money. I was probably making like, I think like the threshold for me was like €1,000 a month. So that's like $1,200 a month. That was like, okay, now I can see it as my living. So that was 2013. And yeah, in 2015, I moved out my parents' house. So let's say 2015 was like, then I had to fully sustain myself with beats.
Okay, so that's been 6 years, and plus, I think we have to put everything into perspective too, with regards to finances, because your cost of living where you are in Germany is going to be higher than somebody living where I'm living, and it might be lower than someone living in, I don't know, maybe central London or something. And
yeah, man, lifestyle inflation is a real thing. It's like living in the center of a city. I'm fortunate, like I got quite an affordable place, and the prices in Berlin aren't like New York City high, luckily. But there's so many degrees to that. It's insane.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really just kind of a personal thing, whatever. Everyone has different goals and everyone has different financial needs. So definitely keep that in mind as you're gauging your own success and comparing your success to the success of other producers. So it took you what, about realistically 4 years to really turn your love for making music into an actual career?
Yeah, I think like 2013, like when it started to pay off more, that was like when, you know, when the system I used was getting more solidified, and like I understood more what I was doing with like building a catalog and like how back catalog works. And like once that understanding kind of kicked in, for some reason the income started coming too.
Yeah, I definitely want to get into your systems, because you do things differently from a lot of other producers, and that's a story that I want to tell, because everybody's different and everyone's brand is different. But first of all, in a general sense, what was, in your opinion, the most important habit that you developed that helped you build your music career?
Good question. Well, definitely the systemizing part of it. And to be honest, I'm not like my schedule, like especially like I'm a very systematic person, but not really when it comes to time. So I don't really have a very tight sleeping schedule, or I don't really have days where I'm like, okay, from every Monday and Tuesday I work from 12 to 6 on these mixes or these beats. Like I really just listen to what I want to do every day. I literally make a list every morning. I wake up like, okay, what would I enjoy doing today? And then I start kind of doing that. But I think that the biggest difference, like what made the biggest difference was, I mean, it's been said so many times, of course, but the finding a certain consistency in your output creation. You know, in this case, would be uploading new beats, where I only release one beat a week. I've been doing that since end 2016, I believe. But the first time I started doing weekly beats, that was 2014, because I remember that was like my last year at my parents' place, and I knew I was gonna move out. So I decided, okay, if I have 1 year now to like really build my income, what should I do? Okay, I'm gonna systemize my beat uploading schedule, because before it was sometimes I wouldn't release something for 3 weeks, and then maybe twice a week. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna force myself to at least do one beat a week. And I started doing that, and then like within that year my income doubled. I was like, okay, well, this really works. Then at some point I took that less seriously, and then around 2017 I started doing that consistently again till this day. And it's a really nice way for me to, you know, like at least every week I know there is something new. I put something new in the world, in the creative music. I create a new asset in the music industry. Whatever, even if it's gonna sell not well or whatever, you at least created an asset, and you know, maybe, who knows, 5 years from now it will gain income, or maybe never. Maybe it will just only bring people back to the beats you created before. You know, it's but yeah, there's creating some systematic consistency was definitely the biggest game changer.
So for you, I know we've had this conversation, and I think you mentioned that your approach is what you would consider quality over quantity, and I think that's evidenced by your upload schedule.
Yeah.
And so the most you've uploaded is one beat per week, right?
Yeah, I mean, there have been weeks where I knocked out 2, but I was really exhausted these weeks, man. To be honest, it was really exhausting for me.
How long does it take you to make a beat, would you say, on average?
So there's like, it kind of depends on what kind of beat it is. The last beat I uploaded, it only took like 2 hours to create, because I made it just with a very talented guitar player and keyboard player. So it was really easy to lay down all the melodies and stuff. But let's say I create a beat from scratch by myself, and mostly like after 4 hours it sounds pretty good. but then like something magical happens in like the second 4 hours. So when you work up to 8 hours or sometimes even 12 hours, some decisions start to kind of line up, and for some reason like the last 20% of the beat quality comes out of these final hours. But yeah, the saying, like the first 80% takes 20% of the time, and the last 20% takes 80% of the time in a creative
Yeah.
process. I do really try to always get to that 100%, and that might take up to 12 hours. But sometimes, man, and I've been getting less strict on myself the last couple of years. So there definitely are quite some beats now that have been made within 3 hours, 4 hours. Yeah.
So just out of curiosity, if when you started uploading one beat per week consistently, your income doubled, why did you never try to upload 2 beats a week consistently and maybe triple your income?
Because I don't know, for some reason, I can't really get myself to only do beat selling and like only focus on like, okay, creating beats, putting them out there, creating beats, putting them out there. I spend a lot of time thinking about, maybe overthinking, I don't know. I spend a lot of time thinking about what I want to create. So I make way more beats than one per week, but for some reason it always happened that whenever I tried 2 beats a week, I think there have been even been times where I was like, okay, let's see what happens if I make 3 beats a week now. For some reason I can't connect with the beats on a like a almost like a personal level, and the work I start doing or the work I'm doing starts to kind of feel what's the word, marginal, is it?
Marginal, yeah.
Yeah, it starts to feel meaningless.
Okay.
So that's really, I think that's just the way my brain is wired within the creative process, that kind of holds me back in that sense. But also it opens up a lot of other opportunities, of course, because if I only upload 1 beat a week, I have more time to create sample packs, to work with artists, and work on my branding, or make fun beat videos, like these kind of things.
Yeah, and I definitely want to talk about those. So let me ask you another question. Are major placements an important part of your income, or have they ever played an important part of your income?
Now more than before, definitely. But I would say like the biggest placement income thing is like the steady work relationship I have with one of my artists in the Netherlands. He's called Joost. I've been working with him for 3 years now, and just doing a lot of songs together, with like some with great great success within our country. Because like whenever you get like a real working relationship going with someone, there's like a personal working relationship with an artist. It's less transactional, and you're more involved in the asset, more involved in the music. You got more equity in the music, literally percentage wise. So that's been really interesting financially as well, of course. But like I wouldn't say it made a difference where my lifestyle changed because of placements. But I mean, it was definitely it has been a nice addition to beat selling, but I could easily live without it. It's more like a tip.
Okay,
A
got it.
good tip.
Yeah, I think that's. Have you noticed since you started that perception has changed in the producer community? I feel like when I first started making beats, the perception was that the people selling beats online would never, in any way, in a creative way, in a financial way, in terms of influence on the producer community, that producers who sell beats online would never be better or on par with, you know, industry producers who were getting placements. And I feel like that changed now.
What year did you start selling beats?
I guess technically I started selling beats in the early 2000s, but online leasing, oh god, I didn't have an online beat leasing store until BeatStars. So I think I joined in 2016 maybe, and I didn't get serious until about 2018.
Yeah, 2018, something like that. Yeah, no, so especially like when I started selling leases in 2010, 2011, it was not really a known form of income and wasn't really valued by the music industry as anything significant. So, and I started seeing that change actually, like when BeatStars grew to be BeatStars, like starting from, let's say, like 2016. That was like, I remember that BeatStars started making like some power moves within the producer community. And because I didn't join BeatStars till 2017 myself, because before that I always had my own just my own DIY WordPress beat store without automatic sending. I had to go to my email every day to send shit out manually. But yeah, the question was whether there still is like a difference.
Do you think it's changed? I personally feel like it's changed. It's not. This isn't an official question.
Oh no, it's 100% changed. Like for
and
real,
I think
I would choose a life of selling beats. I would probably choose it over a life of only doing industry work, man. For real.
Why?
Like if I had the option to just quit your beat store, just quit your online brand, and you can only work in a studio with these artists, I would say no, thank you, bro. I'm good.
Why would you say that?
Because this gives me, for some reason, it gives me a lot more freedom, in at least freedom in the sense where, or in the specific parts of life where I want the freedom. I don't want to have to be in the studio with everyone all day. I just want to chill at home in my own studio, just do what I want and go on vacation, bring my laptop, knock out some beats or upload some beats, and just or have the beats ready, create some artwork, and see some sales coming in and be like, oh, okay, cool, now let's go to dinner. I like that way of living. Yeah.
I think it was funny too, because as all of that debate was going on, you know, these internet producers aren't anywhere on the level of the industry producers. You had some of the early internet guys quietly making tons of money, and creating a brand for themselves in really amazing ways that other industry producers couldn't ever dream to do. But you also had them influencing an entire generation of producers. I mean, how many industry producers today were influenced by, you know, like a Vibe or a Johnny Giuliano? You know what I mean? So
many.
Yeah, it isn't that funny how that works.
The funny part, and I'm 100% sure you got this too. Like I actually, like the past, I would say that started like 2018, and 2020 was like like that happened a lot. Like I was getting quite some, I'm not gonna drop names, but like industry producers hitting me up like, yo, bro, can you help me out? I want to sell beats online because it feels like a great additional income for me, rather than just having to rely on my placements all the time. And like having actual meetings with people to like questioning me about it, like, okay, how does that work? And just like people I looked up to or still look up to, like for real.
Yeah, it's crazy how much the technology has influenced the process and the business, honestly.
Yeah.
So I have some questions coming in. I want to ask one question before I get to that to lead into it. But obviously your beats sound good. But they probably didn't sound the way they do now when you first started. How did you
No.
grow and improve as a musician early on? What even made you think that you needed to improve, and then what steps did you take that helped?
Mm, Let me think. Well, I think the biggest urge for improvement was always like when I upgraded my sound system. So I started out at I think with just crappy headphones and just the speakers from my monitor screen. And then I got better headphones, and at some point I got KRK speakers, and every step was like, oh wait, my music sucks. I didn't know. I didn't hear it. I couldn't hear it because the system was too whack. So that had a big influence on like, okay, it should be better. But I think mm, comparing it to what's out there, like, and not even only songs, but also hearing other producers online who are successful, and you start listening to their music, and it's like, oh damn, there's a lot of space in this beat for a vocalist. How did he do that? But the beat is still sounding interesting. Why is the beat still sounding interesting while I'm missing vocals? And if I try to leave space, my beats sound boring. Like, what are these technical and sound selective choices that are being made that end up making such a big difference, apparently, because this person is probably making 10 times as much money as I am. And I guess that wondering like, how is that possible, man? How does that not come naturally to me? That always drove me to to try and improve and like learn from what other people are doing, and learn what their influences are. Because like, I don't know who said it, but someone once told me like, yo, if you wanna, you should dive into the inspiration of the person that inspires you. So like, let's say you're inspired by Jay Dilla, you should dive into the things that inspired Jay Dilla. So I just started doing some research with that in mind.
What did you learn from that journey? I mean, you were asking yourself why other people's beats sounded, I guess, more complete than yours. What did you learn, and how did you apply that to your own production process?
Um, I would say my first years, like, I heavily overproduced, so I added too many things. And I did that up till like 2014. Like, I just like it, I sometimes I wish I started out as a rapper or singer, because it's so much easier than to recognize like, okay, I don't need any more melodies for this because my vocal has to be on top of this, right? I just started out just wanting to make music that sounds good, and if you start out, it's like, okay, my music doesn't sound good, I think I should add more. And at some point I started realizing, okay, my music doesn't sound good, maybe I should change it instead of maybe I should add more. I think that was like one of the biggest realizations. Like, okay, maybe I need a different chord progression, or maybe I need a different instrument.
And then how did you learn how to add better sounding instruments or better sounding chord progressions?
Mm, that kind of almost feels like an ear training thing, man. It's just the years that add up. Just with like, same with mixing. Like, I can explain all the technicalities about mixing to someone, and he will make the shittiest mix ever, for real. But through years of just making creative decisions in your music every time again, and failing these decisions, at some point you get like a certain muscle memory of like a chain of decisions that work better together, and you kind of uh, rewire yourself to like a producer that makes great musical decisions. Because like, let's be honest, like, that's what differentiates the great producers from the good or the bad producers. Like, they don't have better sounds, they don't have better plugins or more knowledge, they just make better choices in the music creation process.
So, quick question then, with regard, because you mentioned mixing. What monitors are you using right now, and what headphones are you using right now for your mixes?
I am like for headphones. I actually always use my iPhone earbuds. I also have the DT77 from what is it again? I think Biodynamic. Just like a, but I actually mostly only use it for just recording when someone records vocals. Hardly ever for mixing. I don't know. Maybe I should do that more. I don't know. I didn't really feel the urge and need to use it. And for speakers, that's quite interesting. So I have Adam A7Xs here. It's like a Cherrywood limited edition. There are only 400 made of these. They look really nice. And then
Yeah, they do.
I use thanks. I use one Avantone Mix Cube. I only have one because, like you can see here, there's no Mix Cube on this. I use that one actually a lot. Because what I do usually is I will create a beat and then after like half an hour or something, I start A/Bing between my stereo setup to that one mono speaker. Because it gives me it really refreshes my ear palette for some reason. I can really hear like, oh wait, the snare is way too loud, or the vocals are way too low in volume, or this instrument sucks. It's that makes a big difference. Like that one mono solution, that's great.
What do you use to switch between the cube and the pair of Atoms?
A MEC big knob. It's just a passive.
Okay, I got that too. I love that thing.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, and it's cheap. It's really cheap.
Yeah, it was like, what is it, like $80? Maybe not even. Like
I went on eBay. I got it for like 65 or something.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. If you need to switch between, do you have more speakers?
Yeah, I have the Yamaha HS8s and I have the M Audio BX5. So I can with one button switch between them, and then also, you know what I like about that big knob? The mono toggle.
Yeah.
So even on because I don't have a mix cube, so all my monitors are stereo, but I can still reference my mix in mono if I want to, just by pushing a button.
Yeah, that's so nice, man. It makes a big difference because the way your mix sounds mono is really important.
Let's see. Okay, here's a question about mixing that. Let me find it. Richard Davis Jr. wants to know if, as you're making your beat, do you mix and arrange your beats at the same time, all in one session?
Usually, if I create a beat, and that's something for some reason I started noticing not even that long ago, but I've been doing it that forever. Is usually I make a beat and I spend about 1 to 2 hours on it, and then I have like maybe an intro and a verse or a chorus part or whatever, and then I come back to it either the next day or 2 weeks later, or whenever I want to work on it again, and then I extend the arrangement, and then once the arrangement is extended to where I'm like, okay, I feel like this could be an arrangement that could work for this beat, I will start mixing it, and then after I bounce that, I will come back. Like usually I come back to it the third time, and then with the final mix, like with hearing the final mix, I hear like, oh, maybe this arrangement should change, or this part should swap here. But of course, just like with any other producer process, and the one has that more than the other, I do make quite some mixing choices within that process. So I very often already create a drum group for my drums and start putting effects on that, just to make it more to make it more moving, or make it more slap. So there definitely are mixing choices made within the production process, but like I try to stay away from really finalizing it before it's done, which is difficult. But, yeah.
So you use a specific technique for marketing your beats, and it doesn't cost you a cent. And you use Instagram for this, and you've sold beats, many beats using this trick. Tell me about your Instagram contest approach to marketing your beats.
The giveaway.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I don't really spend maybe, and I had a talk with Abe about this a couple of weeks ago, and he said but he always encourages me to spend money on ads. You know, he believes in that, like like that, and but for some reason I never really followed up on that advice. But shout out to Abe anyway. But so I don't really spend money on ads, but I try to find creative ways, I guess, to showcase my beats without it feeling spammy or any of that. So what I do on Instagram, and I've been doing that since 2018 already. So that's a long time, and it has been working really great so far, even till this day. I did another last week. Is I create visuals for my beats, just like anyone else, and every 4 beats I create, so that would be every month. Lately I've been doing it a bit less because I felt like otherwise my timeline would be flooded with that content. But generally speaking, I would do it every month. I will post like the 4 beats I made that month in a carousel. So that's like the swipe post thing where you can swipe to see the next thing, and I ask people to comment their favorite beat, and then after a couple of days I choose 3 winners to win a free premium license, which is like you get the WAV file, so it's like a $50 license. So I give that away to 3 people. But the nice part is, like, so I usually get like 70 to 100 comments, something like that. That's like 70 to 100 people that are actually really involved into listening to 4 beats, selecting their favorite. Like what you want to do is you want to engage people as much as you can with the music, right? You want them to create an opinion about the music, because if they create an opinion about the music, they're more inclined to eventually say, like, okay, I really liked this one. Why did I really like this one? Maybe I should check it out again, or maybe I should even buy it. So I get quite some people engaged on these new beats, and then I give a free license to 3 people who are always like super happy and thankful. And I tell them, like, yo, just go through my catalog, just choose any beat you want. So I have 3 people going through my entire fucking catalog, finding more beats than they need, or finding more than 1 beat. So I give them the free beat, and very often they turn into returning customers because they were so engaged with my complete catalog. And you might think, like, okay, that's only 3 people, but the ability to create 3 returning customers from a free giveaway thing, that's pretty powerful. So, and of course, the people who comment their favorite beat under that post, like for the people listening, they can just go to my Instagram, and I think it's like the second to latest post, which was like that, where I did like a giveaway like that. The cool part is that these people hope to win. Some of the people really hope to win that beat because they really want to win that beat, and then they don't win, but they already kind of put so much energy into liking that beat that they're like, okay, maybe I will buy it anyway. That's like my I think that's the Instagram giveaway campaign thing that you were referring to. Otherwise, I've been rambling forever about something you didn't want to hear.
No. That's what I was referring to. But have you found that there are other effective ways to generate sales without paying for advertising?
Mailing list, of course, but mailing list is quite expensive, so that's not really free. It's not really a free game because I'm spending like 130 a month, something like that, for my mailing list. And just for one email a month is pretty expensive. I don't know if like making the best use of that. But other free, I guess, like just trying to get your beats on every fucking place you can think of that artists are at, whether it be apps where people record their vocals, involve your beats in rap challenges organized by everyone is organizing rap challenges nowadays. So like just getting a foot in the door at every place where artists might be finding beats. I think that's just the way you got to think. Like, don't try to think like, oh, it has to be YouTube or it has to be BeatStars. Like, artists can be on Reddit, or they can be talking about recording what mic they should use, and be on a forum, maybe the Sweetwater forum. I don't know. Probably. Like these are all creative places where you can think of like, okay, maybe I can find a way to showcase my beats here in a way that's not like, it doesn't feel like I'm trying to force my music on people. I don't know, that's just the way I enjoy getting more audience myself most.
So hold on one second. Let's talk about multiple platforms, because you don't just upload your beats to YouTube and BeatStars. I want to specifically talk about Spotify. So a lot of beat makers are unsure whether or not they should upload their instrumentals to Spotify. What's your advice to them?
Yeah, do that. Hell yeah. You should do that. Why not? I don't see that there's literally no reason not to do it. I remember the reason I started doing it is I was shooting a Vice documentary in 2019, which came out in 2020. But they were shooting a Vice documentary in the Netherlands about my business and my producership, I guess. And I was in the car with the director of the series, and he was like, oh yeah, let's play some music. And he immediately tried to find my music, and I didn't really upload my beats to Spotify then. So he only found like a couple of strange tracks made on my beats where I was kind of tagged as an artist, which I'm not. So it was a really awkward moment where I was like, oh yeah, it doesn't really work. And it was like, oh yeah, I can't really use YouTube in my car. I was like, oh man. And then I decided and I only did 2 bundled album beat tape releases so far on my Spotify page with like existing beats. And I'm actually planning on doing a 3rd one now. I'm just not the fastest person in that regards, but I've seen so many producers, man, like they upload their beats to YouTube. Let's say a freaking Kendrick Lamar type beat, and half a year later, they put that track on Spotify as if it's a lo-fi beat single, and it pops off on Spotify, and like they get 1 million streams, and that's equal to what is it, like 4, 5, 6K, and maybe even artists are listening to the beat and want to buy the beat. That's a lot of income coming from one small choice you made.
And you've hit that point, right? You have one beat that's basically at 1 million views on Spotify.
On Spotify, yeah, that one is a bit of a different story, because that one was released by Chill Hop. That's a label. It's a big lo-fi label, and I know the owner pretty well, boss. So like since he started that label like in 2011, and then in 2016 we were like, yeah, I should release a beat on the label. So that kind of cranked my Spotify numbers. But yeah, like I said, I only started uploading my beats to Spotify a year ago. And I mean, I'm very happy that there's at least a couple like beats that are on YouTube as well that hit like 12K on Spotify, things like that. I think that's nice, man. That's still a good dinner, a couple of good dinners.
Yeah, I mean, it says you have 13,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. So overall, what's your strategy for attracting listeners to your Spotify?
To be honest, I don't really have. It's more that my Spotify is more. I put it out there just to let the world decide whether they want to listen to my music on Spotify. If that makes sense, it's more just so that people are in the car and they can listen to it. I don't have a very specific strategy for that yet. I don't have like a playlist plugger or whatever. I'm just just I mean, like if people want to put it in their playlist, like please do. But like I don't have like crazy tactics for generating streams. Otherwise, I probably would have had more streams on Spotify as well.
So let's talk about your fun beat making videos. I remember the first one I saw was one of you making a beat with a cat, and you recorded the cat meowing.
Oh
and
yeah.
That video went pretty viral, right?
Yeah, so that was what I did there is I made a so there was a cat video. So that was a funny thing. It was a cat video which went viral, which had like 2.5, 3 million views on Twitter, and someone tagged me and said, "Ha, yo, bro, make a beat out of that." And I was like, "Ha, yeah, lol, okay." And I made a beat out of that cat sound, and I just replied it as just like I replied it on the viral tweet, right? But what happens if you have a viral tweet? A lot of people click on the tweet, and then you have like a new, like sort of a top comment section under the tweet, and like my beat video of that cat video became like the #1 top comment post under that viral video. So it was like a sub viral. But that was one of the first beat videos. I remember in that same period of time, I also made I made a beat from a Kanye West tweet. So Kanye West tweeted something, and I put the tweet through Google Translate, and I recorded that into my computer, and then I made a beat out of that, his vocals, and then that also became like a top comment tweet thing. So I had a good streak of that, and eventually that grew to me being like, oh, people really enjoy it if I create beats from weird sources. And then I started doing more more planned beat videos. In 2020 I went to the Niagara Falls, and I made a beat from recording the Niagara Falls, and I recorded myself making the beat at the Niagara Falls, which was hella awkward to be there on my laptop, and everyone was like looking, what's this guy doing? But I've been having a lot of fun to create like interesting ways, or just interesting original ways to make beats. And the fun part is that shit actually started paying off in a whole different way, where a couple of months ago, and you might not have seen that, but I did a beat video for Lay's, the crisps brand. I don't know, it's in the United States too, right? Lay's.
What is it? Chips?
Yeah, it's chips. Maybe it's maybe it has a.
We trust me, we eat chips in the United States.
No, I made like in some countries they have a different name, but anyway, I was approached by them to create a video. No, they just wanted me to do some social content, and I was like okay, I don't really want to post a selfie with a bag of crisps and get a couple, like get $1,000 for that. Like I don't really care about that. So I said like, okay, but if you guys pay me more, I can record the bag of crisps and make a beat out of that. They were like, oh, that's interesting, and I did that, and they were willing to try that, like, because I really like, they gave me an offer, and I pretty much offered them something back. I was like, okay, I don't want to do that, but I can do this for you guys. And they were like, yeah, let's just do it. So I actually got a really good fee for creating a beat video from crisps. And
I didn't know that. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, and actually that evolved now that I'm right now. That's something to look out for in September. I can't say too much about that yet, but I'm working on a much bigger campaign now with them, revolving lace and beats, like some combination of that. But you guys will see that.
Yeah,
in
laying
September.
down some beats.
Yeah.
That was terrible. Okay, so is that why? So that first couple of viral videos that you made, that the cat video and the Kanye video, did that inspire you to start doing the field recording? Because now you're out there with your Zoom recorder. Is that what happened?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I was already making a lot of field recordings because I've always loved traveling. Like in 2013, I remember I went to Southeast Asia for a couple of months, traveled around there, and I like what I always did is I would travel and then I wouldn't really take pictures, but I would just make sound recordings. And so I have this huge organization of sound recordings, like all the way back to 2012, like me recording crickets on an island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, like some random shit, which then I try to use in my beats. So I was already doing it a lot because I wanted to, I've really felt like I wanted to add like a certain personal touch to my beats, which you couldn't really hear, but it's more like a personal touch for me. It's really just for myself, pretty much, to fulfill my own creative needs. And then at some point I was like, okay, yeah, I figured out I can make beats from really strange places. If I can make a beat from a tweet or a cat, like I can probably make a beat out of anything. You can probably give me a plant and I can probably make a beat out of it.
Well,
And
there's a plant in the background, so you could do that next.
Yeah, let's do it now, live.
Make a beat from my monotone voice. That would be a beat. That'd be amazing.
I will melody the shit out of you, bro.
You would need some melodyne. You need some heavy melodyne. Okay, so what's that takes a lot of time, obviously. How much time do you spend making these videos and these field recordings a week, would you say?
Yeah, so it's not a like I have my beat uploading schedule. I don't have a schedule for beat videos. I mean, I have content for 3 beat videos I'm about to make the coming weeks, months, but I don't know yet exactly when I'm gonna make them. But the process usually it's pretty time intensive. It can take a good 2 full days, like just waking up, working, and sleeping, and then 2 days of that. Because there's the video editing involved, and that can be pretty. Yeah, video editing is a bitch. Just
well, have you put yourself on a schedule for these? I mean, do you have a quota, like you have to make one of these a week?
No, but I'm maybe thinking about trying to do more structurizing more social content rather than only structurizing the beat upload thing, because I feel like that could make a big difference in my social engagement too. So I have been thinking about that the last couple of weeks, but we will see if I'm actually going to do that. But yeah, it's when inspiration hits me, I get in like a hyper focus, and I just work for 2 days straight, and I don't really sleep as much and shit, and then I'm like completely broken and I can't really work for 2 days. I don't know. Sometimes I guess I'm a bit of I have a sort of borderline artist personality deep inside of me, which sometimes comes out.
So when you make all these videos, obviously they're fun. They've gotten you some opportunities, some unexpected opportunities. I'm sure when you started making the beat videos, you weren't thinking, I'm going to get a deal with a potato chip company, right?
Yeah, no. I mean, I was kind of, at some point I started thinking about it, like, damn, this could be really interesting for brands. And so I guess in some way it manifested itself, where just me thinking about that a lot, it kind of made me look for the entry points to actually make it happen. And then I got like the right entry point and I made it happen. But I was kind of surprised that I hadn't seen it that much happen before. And I hope that maybe someone's watching and in 2 years they will do something like that themselves. But I think it's yeah, I wouldn't have. I just did it because it's fun, you know. And the same shit with selling beats. I started uploading beats in 2009. I didn't even know that I could make money with beats. I just started getting an awful lot of messages from people who wanted to buy my beats, and I was like, huh? Can I make money with this? Okay, sure, let's do it.
Mm. Well, have these videos now that you're making, because they've obviously attracted viewers, and so there are more eyes on you. Would you say that they have attracted customers to your beat store as well?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. To be honest, like some of the beats I create for the beat videos ended up not really being in the style of something I would add to my catalog. So not all the beats I make for beat videos end up uploaded. But of course, like it's always a gateway for people to connect with your brand and click further. You know, like click the link in my bio and see, oh, latest beat. Let's hear. Oh, that's dope. Oh, my niece sings. She should hear this. You know, you don't know. People get at your, like they discover your music through the rarest, strangest places, like strangest processes. So just keep creating always.
That's interesting. Switching gears slightly, let's say you were to open up FL Studio to a blank project window.
Yeah.
What do you do first?
That's a really good question, man. Ooh, that's a really good question. Wait, let me visualize that, because that's something you never really think about, of course. Fuck. What's the first thing I do? Okay, I open FL Studio. I think the first thing I do is open a plugin. I just select a plugin, just a VSTI. And I start playing some notes, and then like I think like within 3 minutes I realize whether I want to make a beat or want to start my beat with a plugin, or I'm just gonna search through sounds like samples, or start with drums, which I haven't really been doing a lot lately, but I love drum programming more than anything. But yeah, I think the first thing I usually do is just open a plugin to see like what notes are in my fingers today, which are usually the same notes, unfortunately. And then I just start clicking in piano roll things.
Okay, so then what do you do then when you feel like you're just playing the same chords over and over again? How do you break that cycle?
I have, the last time I had piano lessons was like 2015, so it's been a long time since I really actively was like, okay, I'm gonna practice piano. I did that for 1.5, 2 years. And in that time period, I learned a lot of chords. I learned pretty well how to improvise, because I had an improvisation piano teacher. That was really interesting, because improvising is pretty much the same as composing, of course, just in the moment. So I learned how to do that, and then the chords and the especially when I play chords with melodies, it's not so much, but whenever I play chords, I always intuitively kind of grab the same how do you call it? Yeah, the same structures, you know, like I don't know the English word for it. So you have, let's say you have a triad. Voicings, my bad. Yeah, voicings. I kind of stick to the same voicings, and there's just let's say there's 5 different chord progressions which I always remember, and these are the ones that I play first, kind of almost to test the instrument. Like, okay, is this the sound that I want to play with? But I'm sure you have that too. Like, I don't know how well you play the piano.
Oh, is that a question? I'm never going to say that I play it well, but I play it.
Nice. Yeah, it's just like you can only memorize so many. Yeah, you can only muscle memorize so many chord progressions. Kind of feels like that.
Yeah, it's nice to listen to other stuff and just kind of,
Yeah.
if you hear a cool chord that you've never played, just
Oh,
figure out what it
that's
is and then incorporate
yeah.
that into your process.
And that's what I love about samples, man. Like because back in the day, I like the first 3-4 years of me making beats, I only used samples, like up to a religious level where I only used samples. So I would literally use 5 different samples, two for the drums, two for melody things, and then one for a bass. And like up to a point where it was a kind of religious thing where I was like, I only want to use samples. But the cool part about samples is that you first listen to the emotion. Like that's the first thing you listen to. Like, okay, is this the emotion I want to work with today? And when you're composing yourself, you have to create that emotion first before anything else. And that process can be pretty. I find that process to be one of the hardest parts of making a good beat. Like really translating that emotions into the notes you're playing.
Okay, unfortunately, we're running out of time. I want to ask you one last question, and then hopefully we can follow up another interview because I still have a bunch of questions left.
Always.
He said always. You heard it here first. What are some? This is. I was going to ask this question anyway, but shout out to Remedy Born. He wanted to ask this question too. What are some plugins you find yourself using again and again?
Sound toys, anything sound toys. They're effect wise, like I would say, like they're great for creating textures and manipulating the ideas you already created. Just the Sound Toys bundle, I think they're at Sound Toys 6 now. I use that in every session. I have at least 3 or 4 Sound Toys plugins always. That's for effects. For instruments, I got the Arturia stuff, which I'm using quite a lot, but for some reason I really like the Diva. You know Diva? It's like a soft synth. I really mess with that because it's a very versatile and really warm sounding.
Isn't that a free
synth.
plugin? I don't have it, but I think.
Oh no, it's not free. It's not.
Okay.
And I have like a thing for just rare contact libraries. You know, it's like just finding like kind of free contact banks or like just rare obscure instruments sampled by people you've never heard of. Like these kind of things, like these kind of feel like the new hidden gems. Like you're not, I'm not digging through crates, but like digging through rare contact library creators. I really like that. But yeah, I would say these are my favorite. And for bass, I really enjoy Trillion. That's amazing. Really
Yeah, that one hasn't. I still need to get that. Everyone uses it. Okay, cool. Once again, thank you so much. What's the best way for people to follow you and see you making beats with chips and cats and
at
organ grinders?
Man, there's so many things. I want to make a beat with skateboarding sounds. I think that's going to be cool. At Tantu Beats, man, anywhere, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, BeatStars, and yeah, man, just add Tantu Beats, anything. And thanks for having me again, man. It's always a pleasure to talk. If you ever want to hop on a call private, you can always hit me up if you want to discuss creativity or whatever.
Yeah, likewise, and I'll be following up with you so we can get a part. I guess this would be a part 4, I think.
Already, whoa.
Yeah, kind of crazy.
I will clean my room next time before I go.
we don't care.
Nice.
See, now see, if you hadn't said it, I wouldn't be looking around.
Shit. Okay.
All right, I'm gonna remove him. All right, peace. All right, shout out to everyone in the chat. See you next Thursday, same time, same place.